Om Sadashivasamārambhāṃ Shankaraचार्यमध्यमाम् Asmadacharyaparyantāṃ Vande Guruparamparaṃ.
Yes.
Yeah. So last time we are seeing the answer to the Purva-paksha. Okay. Just saw that Shadlinga Vicharaihi, the Tatparya of the Upanishads, the Vedanta Shastra, resolves into Brahman. Okay? Tattvamasi iti. If you want Ekavakya, one Vakya, which will cover the whole thing, it is a Mahavakya. Tattvamasi iti, Mahavakya. All sentences resolve into that. So, Shadlinga Vicharaihi, we saw that. That means the subject matter of the Upanishad is Atma Jnanam, nothing else. Brahmatma Aikyam is the Tatparya of the Shastra. So, any questions, clarifications on what we have seen up to now? We saw that Shadlinga Vichara with respect to a couple of the texts also.
So, I have one question.
Shoot.
This Murari story, I keep on forgetting.
Which one?
If I so Murari.
Murari story. Okay.
I knew it, I have suddenly forgotten it.
Now the Murari story, he said, it's a true story with certain embellishments, of course. It was said to show, like if you are going to interpret Vedanta Shastra, there are three commentaries, major commentaries on the Upanishad. Major, okay? There are lots of it, but three major schools have emerged from the commentaries on the Upanishad. That is Advaita Vedanta, generally attributed to Shankara. In fact, that is the stand according to us. Then there is the Ramanujacharya school with lot of commentators, etc., who talk about Vishishtadvaita. That means I am part of the whole. I am not the whole, I am part of the whole, as the mainstay of the Upanishads. And then there is Madhavacharya with a lot of other people also, like Vallabhacharya, etc., who talks about pure Dvaita. And Bhakti is the only means. Bhakti and Karma are the only means. That means there is an eternal duality and your moksha depends on the grace of the Lord. So there are things like Sayujyam, Samipyam, etc. They will talk about all of that. So this is the three major schools that has come. Each school claims that they are the authentic one. So how do you decide which is authentic? So the authenticity of a thing, of a pramana, has to be what? What is the definition of a pramana, remember?
Yeah.
कभी-कभी ऐसा क्वेश्चन पूछना पड़ता है ना, suddenly out of the blue, no chance to prepare, but you should know. If I give you homework, you will prepare and bring a nice one, which is good. I'm not saying no to that, but suddenly then it should all be here. Basic definitions, not everything. Abhadita, Anardigata, Jnana-janakam. Once I say the first word, everyone will remember it. Abhadita, Anardigata, Jnana-janakam. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Abhaditam, Anardigatam. Anardigatam means Yat Anya Pramanehi Na Adigatam. Okay, yeah. That which is not gained by any other pramana. Okay. So that means what? There has to be a certain uniqueness about it. Now, Dvaita and Vishishtadvaita, you can figure it out by yourself. That God is separate from me, everyone says, na? Ask a person, uneducated laborer on the road, hey, ab Bhagwan hai kya? Ab kya baat kar raha hai? Mera haal dekho. He also knows he is not Bhagwan. Vishishtadvaita will require some logic and understanding. But with some logic, you can say, God is everything, I am part of Him. Can be said. Okay. Though is God will have to be an assumption there. Okay. But still, if you study the Shastra and all, don't understand it completely, to say that God, you're part of God, God is everything, is still possible. But there is no way without the Shastra you can come to the understanding that God and I are one and the same. That Advaita Jnanam is the uniqueness. Now to highlight this, that Murari story is said about this great teacher, Vishnu Devananji, who was teaching in Rishikesh. And he was the Mathadipati of Kailas Ashram actually. 3 generations. Okay. No, not 3 generations. After Vishnu Devananji came Vidyanandagiri. After Vidyanandagiri was Divyananda. And now, yes, another person. Correct. So 3 generations. Okay. He, Tapovan Maharaj and all were one great friends. Okay. Tapovan Maharaj is Swami Chinmayanji's Vidya Guru. His Diksha Guru was Swami Shivananda. Vidya Guru was Tapovan Maharaj. Actually, his name was Tyagananda Tapovanam. But everyone knew him as Tapovan Maharaj. Okay. Yeah. So, the story goes that the student came to learn with him. And he was saying Tattvamasi, or you are Bhagavan, you are Ishvara. In the unfolding, he had the habit of saying you are Narayana, which is the same thing. Narayana, Narasya Paranam Ayanam, Narayana. Okay. Narasya Ayanam, the goal of all human beings is to be one with Ishvara. So we used to say, you are Narayana. Another word for Ishvara, another word for Bhagavan. And this boy was a great bhakta, so he used to find it a bit jarring, couldn't take it. That's why a great amount of Vairagya is necessary to study Vedanta. Vairagya is objectivity, okay? You can't have your personal bias coming in. Your bhakti is fine. That bhakti is not a bias. But you can allow it to become a bias. That is the problem. And Rishikesh, really speaking, is not a place for beginners to study. We are encountering the same problem now in conducting courses in Rishikesh because the cross influences can be huge. There are hundreds of ashrams doing its own thing. Okay. Yeah. So, distractions and attractions are many in Rishikesh. Okay. Yeah. From simple thing like food onwards. Our ashram food is good, nice. But roti etc. is not very good. Neighboring ashram makes great parathas they give yaar. Punjabi ashram mein udhar jaake khana khayega. What is your focus? You come to study or to eat parathas? If you want to eat parathas, stay at home. Or get married. Then you will be making parathas for your wife. Okay. So distractions are many. So this boy also was going around here, there. And across the river, he found a teacher. Teaching pure duality. You and God are different. God and world is different. You and world is different. Okay. And pure duality. That seemed to gel with him because his bhakti is validated now. Yes, I can have bhakti to Ishvara. Forgetting that the culmination of bhakti is Advaita Jnana. But probably he was not ready for it at that time. So he started studying there. And Rishikesh Mahatmas don't bother about following. ठीक है, अपने अपना प्रारब्ध है. He came to me, I was willing to teach him, but if he finds that other place is better, कोई बात नहीं, रहना. ईश्वर रक्षतु, let may God bless him. And that's it, हो गया काम. So he kept on studying for 12 years with logic, grammar, Panini Sutras, everything, elaborately. And this old man Vishnu Devanji is still teaching there. Students are coming and going, graduating and going. Then including Tarananda Giri. And this time he also studied and became a great teacher, from whom Puja Swamiji studied. And I followed suit 20 years later. So all these great teachers came out of Vishnudevanand. But this youngster, after he graduated, or 12 years he has finished, mastered his studies, felt this old man is still teaching, he's teaching wrong. I must have a debate with him. So he came to Vishnudevanand and said, I want Vada Bhiksha. Now if a teacher is asked Vada Bhiksha, you can't say no. But he was about to have a haircut, Rishikesh style. Murari is a local barber. He used to stay in Shivananda Ashram. These are all true stories. That's why I'm giving you details to show how true these stories are. Okay. Okay. And he used to, his seva to all the sadhus was to give them, to go and give them a free haircut.
Achha.
And Rishikesh, there is only one style. Either you grow everything or you shave off everything. Those style for sadhus. Okay. That's why Sanchit must have seen Nitya Buddha, Bodhananda, right? He grows everything, it's all wild. In the city, you keep it a bit trimmed. Not very well groomed, but at least trimmed. Rishikesh style is like that. Either you grow everything or shave off everything. So, Murari had come. And you know the old-fashioned razors, he was sharpening away cutthroat razors. So he said, poor Murari has come, he has to go to other ashrams also for seva. So, would you mind if I have a haircut first? Oh, no, I waited for 12 years, I can wait for another 12 minutes, what's the problem? So, Murari gave him a clean shave. By that time, 12 years he had not shaven, all had become jata and everything. Beard, jata, hair, jata. It was quite an awesome sight actually. But it was uncomfortable for him. So Murari, taking off everything is easy, styling is difficult. Few minutes everything was off. Gave him a nice chumpy with oil and everything. And showed him the mirror. Kiske liye? Why are you showing me the mirror? There's nothing to be adjusted or done. Na? You go to hair salon, he shows you the mirror, you can say, idhar thoda chota karo, udhar thoda ye karo. You can say something. Upar thoda chota karo. अभी सब निकालना तो मेरा अभी क्या करेंगे but habit wise he showed the mirror and Vishnudevanji went gaga. Wow, what a great person you are not local Murari, you are Sakshat Murari, Bhagavan himself come. Why? Because with a few strokes of your razor, what tejas you have given to my face. All my years of meditation has not given this tejas, you have given this tejas. You are not ordinary Murari, you are Lord Murari himself. One namaskar.
Sir.
Murari, Shraddhalu, idea of Punya Papa. Maharaji, what are you doing? I can't accept prostrations from you. You are a humble Murari. Another one. By this time, Murari is hopping like a cat on a tin roof. Hot tin roof. And he appealed to the young man standing there. Maharaji, aap to bataiye inko. Tell him, I am not. So this young boy spoke up, youngster now, not a young boy anymore, youngster. 12 years he has studied in Rishikesh. Said, Sir, Maharaji, क्या हो गया आपको? ये तो अपना शिवानंद आश्रम के मुरारी है. He is not Bhagavan. अच्छा, if you are saying that must be true. And he went for a dip in the Ganga. This is tradition in India. After haircut, have a bath, okay? Because the hair may be gone here, there, etc. Remove all of that. Unhygienic. So, he went, had a bath, came out, dried himself. Boy is missing. He comes back after half an hour to the ashram with some fruits, etc. Sadhu hai kitna fruit leke aayega? 2-4 fruit leke aayega. Okay. Adihi devo brahmeti. Please teach me about Brahman. Why? Because he understood. 12 years of study, I have come to the conclusion I am not Bhagavan. Murari being illiterate, he has understood he is not Bhagwan. Farak kya hai? What has my 12 years of study given me? And this old man dismissed all my arguments by one action of prostrating to the Murari. All my arguments are dismissed before I started it off. Apurvata. That story is to highlight the apurvata of jnana. Now, which is true? Dvaitam, Vishishta-Dvaitam or Advaitam. What is apurvata is true. The story is only to highlight that. It is arthavada. Okay? To highlight the apurvata of Advaitam. Now I can also say people talking about charismatic arguments. But they were great men. Therefore they also knew the truth. Maybe. How do you say they were great men? Because they wrote such great works. But works have dismissed. What is great about them? This is called Anyonyashraya. They are great because of their works. Their works are great because they are great. Independently, are you proving anything as great? But I am kind. Not a quality often associated with me. But okay. I'll give them benefit of doubt and say they were all great men. So they said this for the sake of their followers. They were not lucky enough to get good students like me. Therefore, for their sake, they toned down to make them understand. Start where they are. That argument is to give them, by giving them benefit of doubt, as stepping stones. Start with bhakti. Then you may hopefully move on to a better understanding. So, Vishishta-Dvaita, stepping stone, next step. Hey, you are part of the whole thing. Goa. Okay. Easier to understand. Then you and Lord are one and the same. Just stepping stones. Okay. So, that way you can give benefit of doubt if you want to say that all of them were wise men. But remember, in your understanding, you can't take any of their arguments as true. You can say it is stepping stone and give them that. Give their followers also that. Let the followers be there. Let them be happy. Let them be happy. Because they may not be ready for learning Advaita. May not be, I don't know. If without their conditioning they had listened to Vedanta, probably they would have understood Vedanta. Okay. Yeah. But let them go through life's experiences. Let them understand Nastya kritaha kritena. That the limitlessness cannot be produced by any action, physical or mental, religious or secular. Laukikam. We don't use secular in India. We say religious or laukikam. Vaidikam, laukikam. So let them understand that and uska baad dekhega. Anyway, how many lifetimes have we gone around without understanding Vedanta? We all have not spent lifetimes. We may have met great teachers in our past lives, but not ready for Vedanta at that time. I know I have met. That time the discipline of the sword was more attractive to me. Yeah. The Shastra was more attractive than the Shastra. Now what to do? Those are lifetimes spent like that. Yeah. So we all have. That's okay. Okay, I hope that Murari's story is clear. Any other questions before I go ahead with the Shadlinga Vichara and what we have come to the Tatparya of Vedanta? That's what we had done last time. I had also said it will be good if any of you can try to take up the Mundaka and do that, or the Kathopanishad and do a Shadlinga Vichara. Kabhi kabhi kar lo, acha hi hai. I am using Taranandagiri's language. Kabhi kabhi kar lo. Acha hi hai. Because you will understand, then the whole Shadlinga Vichara you will never forget after that. Yeah, because you have seen the application of it, na? How you apply it. Katava and Mundaka are good, but start with the teaching, okay? And it may not appear in the same order. You know, Upakrama, Upasamhara you can always pick up. But where is Upakrama, where is Upasamhara, you have to see. So you have to focus on the teaching, like in the Gita. Upakrama is the 11th verse of the second chapter. Before that, it's all background and Arjuna's problem being revealed. Important. It's important to the teaching because you have to understand what is the problem. Not understanding that, people will present it as some anxiety, neurosis, etc., which is not a valid diagnosis. Or fear, etc. Arjuna in fear? What are you talking about? So you have to see. That's the background where the problem shifted from one of being merely a war, a topical problem, how to kill my kith and kin, to the purpose of life and moksha. It had a shift, and there's a definite shift seen in this question, culminating in, I will live a life of bhaksham. I will live a life as of a sadhu. That is associated with jnanam. Jnanam to sannyasa lakshanam. What is the lakshana of a sannyasi? Different traditions are there. Different types of dressing, different types of this. Even in our own sampradaya, different types of dressing. Like this dress that I wear, is very few people wear kurtas. They all wear their angavasram, put it around their head, like Puja Swamiji used to do. But the dress didn't make Puja Swamiji. In fact, there were plenty of photographs of Puja Swamiji with a half kurta or without covering his head. He started covering his head when the hair started disappearing. That was in his mid-30s, 40s. Before that, I have seen him without that hair covering. Jnanam to sannyasa lakshana. So, other things can be. What is your upasana devata? Different traditions have. If we go by the Sringeri Pitam thing, which we are all associated to, our upasana devatas, Chandra Maulishwara and Sharadamba. If you go by the Akhadas, we have Niranjani Akhada, Kartikeya is upasana devata. So, these things will keep changing. What is common in all the traditions? Jnanam to sannyasa lakshana. Knowledge is a lakshana. For that discernment of the problem. That's why the background is mentioned in the Gita. Therefore, by Shadlinga Vicharehi, we will come to the clear-cut conclusion that Brahma Atma Aikyam, Jiveshwara Aikyam is the Tatparya of the Upanishads. Clear? Shall we go ahead? No questions on this. Okay, all right. Then he says, when this much is clear, okay, tat gata padanam brahma swarupa vishaye nishchite samanvaye avagamane avagamyamane. Once this is understood, that by looking at all the Shastra Vakyas in harmony, they all reveal Brahmatma Aikyam. Arthantar kalpanaha na yuktaha. To take any other meaning, Vaitam Vishishtam Va, or any other meaning, Karma Param, etc., etc., any of those meanings, he says, na yuktaha, is not tenable. Why? It is Shruta Hani and Ashruta Kalpana Prasangat. You are giving up what is heard and making a kalpana, an imagination or a concept of something else. Artha antaram. You are imagining something else. This happens all the time in listening. People come and tell me, Swamiji, you said this. And I am wondering, when did I say that? That is not in harmony with anything I will ever say. It's called Arthanta Kalpana. This happens because Shrutahani. You are giving up what is said, what is heard actually. Because why is it given up? Because you are not understood. And therefore you are misunderstanding it something else. Arthantar Kalpana. It can also happen because you have some bias in your mind about what the Shastra should be, what the sadhu should be, what is moksha, what is your nature, what is Ishvara. In all these there can be confusions. Okay. Cultural conditionings, liberal conditionings, there can be orthodox conditionings. Karmana eva moksha. That's a cultural condition. Because you are a karmata, you are so used to doing karmas. Yeah. And you think that karma is everything. Yeah. Karma has its place in your life, no doubt about it. But that is not going to give you moksha. So that type of bias you may have. Therefore you may not understand what is said. Or a liberal bias. What's a liberal bias? All religions are the same. They all say the same thing. This is called liberal bias. No religious leader will accept this statement. Irrespective of the religion he belongs to, no religious leader will ever accept the statement, all religions are the same, unless he wants to use that statement to change your mind. How can all religions be the same? Will the Jews and Christians who came from the same source accept Christianity and Judaism is the same? One follows the Old Testament, other follows the New Testament. इतना ही फर्क है, but बहुत बड़ा फर्क है इसमें. Huge difference. Another religion that came from the same area accepts all the prophets like Moses, etc., mentioned in the Bible, including Jesus. Islam I'm talking about. Will they accept that Islam and Christianity is the same? Clearly mentioned, you have to kill the non-believer. Very clearly mentioned in the Quran. How? And they are the most bitter fights among them. Crusades. Centuries of fighting. How will you accept all religions? That's a liberal bias coming in. All religions are saying the same thing. So Vedanta is saying the same thing as what Islam is saying. Correct? It's called a liberal bias. Therefore, karma kandanam, etc., you can't accept. No, everything is good, everything is correct. So, these type of biases are there. Or you have a buffet approach. No, I'll come to the Shastra and what I want I will take out of that. Shastra is a pramana. Ardhanda Nyaya is not applicable. What is Ardhanda Nyaya? Half the egg you will make omelette today and half the egg you will keep for hatching tomorrow. You can eat half the egg, which all of you do. Throw out the yellow and eat only the white. Big mistake if you are an egg eater.
You won't get half a chick.
Half a chick. Good one. That's what the people who are throwing away the yellow is hoping. That they'll get six-pack abs and get the chick next door. Okay. But all that choline, B12 vitamins, all of them are there in the yellow, not in the healthy fat for your heart. All of that is in the yellow, not in the white. I'm not saying go and eat eggs. I'm just saying if you're an egg eater, then understand this. I don't give dietary advice. I just make a point. You choose. Yeah. Similarly, you can't have a buffet approach. You taking what you want is good for a buffet. Not good for studying a pramana. A pramana has to be accepted as whole, not partial acceptance. So that buffet approach is another bias. I mean, when you start off, many of us started like that. I'll take what I can, I'll take what I want. But that was just Shubhecha. It was not Mokshecha yet. It's just Shubhecha. I want something nice, something good in my life. That is all it was. Okay, that's another bias that comes and prevents your understanding. Shrutahani or Shruta Kalpana. Yeah. After all, you must live and let live. Let everyone have their beliefs. Good way for a cooperative society to function. Not studying the Shastra. Yeah. Studying the Shastra, you discuss, debate. Sometimes the debate may have a lot of heat also in it, but finally it's to provide light. I mean, I'm coming back from a 3-day discussion in Rishikesh ashram like that.
Swamiji, debates can happen only with people who have Shraddha in the Shastra. Is it like that?
No,
Or
it can
is
happen. It can happen with somebody else also. With someone who is a
But then
Purabhakshi.
but then they are nobody,
Who's-
like people who follow the Bhakti Marg and whatever,
Yeah.
they have their own, means they never.
They have their own, and then they can challenge to debate based on logic and reason. That happens all the time. In fact, in my time, in the Kumbh Melas, this would happen. Now it is not happening. I was checking with some of the people who have been to the recent Kumbh Melas, sadhus. Either it is not happening or they were not considered worthy of being invited. One of the two things. Debate discussions happen, but everyone is not in the Kumbh Mela. Everyone is not invited to it, because in the whole mass, we can imagine the crowds in the Kumbh Mela. If 2% of them turn up for a debate, there will be no place for people, and they will not follow half the thing that's being said there. So the debate discussions that used to happen in my time were only among scholars, or you should be considered worthy of being invited. I used to get an invitation with some of them only because they knew I was Swami Dayananda's Shishya and I am studying with Swami Taranandagiri. They were two great names, respected by all of them. They were not Mandaleshwars, they didn't have any political standing, nothing. But on the sheer basis of their scholarship, they were respected. Therefore, I used to get their invite. But it's a very small group where debates and discussion will happen. Nowadays, as I said, my juniors have told me, no, Swamiji, nahi hota hai aajkal. I don't know. I have to, maybe 27, Haridwar, Kumbh Mela, I may have around. 27th Kumbh Mela, Ardha Kumbh is in Haridwar, okay. I think 27 or 30, I'm not sure. 30, I think. 27 maybe in Nasik. So then, next one in Haridwar, I may make a round and see what's happening. So, debate, discussions, etc. will happen for what? Tatparya Nishchaya. To make that thing clear, to make the nuances clear. Ajnanam bhava rupam kimva abhava rupam. Is ignorance, jnana bhava, absence of knowledge, or jnana virodhi, opposite of knowledge. Those who have studied Naishkarma Siddhi with me have heard it. Those who have not, after Brahma Sutras, we will go into that text. Yeah. This is all part of the game of studying.
Swamiji, what about agnostics?
Agnostic is a person with an open mind. He keeps his mind so open that everything comes and goes. He has not taken a stand. God hai, nahi hai. He doesn't bother. If he is there, let him be. God is in heaven and there is peace on earth. Na? Both ho gaya. Let him be there. Because if he comes down, there will be gadabad. He is not decided.
Okay.
That's another bias that can happen. How do we handle our biases? Karma Yoga Buddhi is one thing. We also have to handle our biases by examining our thinking. That self-awareness part of it has to be there. What am I after in life? Will this belief system help me get it? Simple. I am after moksha. Will this belief system help me gain moksha? Pujya Swamiji used to say the thing very, very often. The freedom we give others ensures our freedom. Others to let be what they are ensures our freedom, emotionally. Not from the strength of absoluteness, emotional. But we all become control freaks. To control behavior, this, that, etc. It's a different thing, giving a direction in a discussion or something like that. That's a different thing. But controlling behavior, this, that, etc. So, that's where the whole thing goes. Yeah. So, these biases have to be examined, and we all may have some bias or the other. Like, I had a very liberal bias because I come from a liberal background. Somebody else may have an orthodox background, therefore, yeah, let us see what works, what doesn't work. My liberal bias helped me play the role of peacekeeper, etc. in 93 riots, etc. It helped me for that. Okay. No, bias is not same as pattern. Pattern is a pattern of thinking that you have. Bias is you are leaning towards something, irrespective of the evidence to the contrary. So, it has its use. Oh, you're liberal, okay. So you can see both sides. That is just to help quieten down tempers during a riot or something like that, fine. To encourage something like live and let live, which is fine. Live and let live is not a problem. In fact, the problem comes when I say live and let live and somebody says, no, you live like how I want. Then I resist that. Then there is friction. But if you don't resist, there will be no friction. If there is no resistance, I don't exist, then what?
So is it dogmatic? Is it dogmatic?
Dogmatic is one step worse. Worse than a bias. Worse than a bias to be dogmatic, yeah. So all these happens. This is what makes, why am I saying all this? This is what makes Shruta Hani and Ashruta Kalpana happen. Remember, we are not studying Brahma Sutra for the sake of Brahma Sutra. We are studying it for our moksha. Therefore, what is creating Ashruta Hani and Ashruta Kalpana, we have to see that. Most of the time it's our biases. Yeah. Therefore, examine that. Why is Vedanta not working? If I studied so long, what is your bias that's preventing it? Or is it lack of commitment? Or is it what? You decide. You examine. Yeah. And if you want my help, come one-on-one, we will discuss it. That's fine. Or maybe this is all I am willing to commit up to now. That's also okay. When you are having an awareness that this is how much I am willing to commit. Not as far as your bias is concerned. Okay, commit as far as your study is concerned. Don't say, no, right now I'll have this bias. Therefore, Shruta Hani, Ashruta Kalpana is a big problem in listening. It's a big problem even in listening in a relationship. Yeah. What you said that? You meant that. Yeah, I did not mean anything of that. This is what I said, this is what I meant. Why do arguments come up? Because of this. Yeah. Therefore, I mean, it's natural because we are human beings, okay? Now, you don't have to feel guilty about it, nor justify it. Both extremes are a problem. Justifying it is a problem. Feeling guilty about it is also a problem. I'm a human being, therefore these biases will be there. I have to examine it and deal with it and grow out of it. Well, as a human being, I grew in a certain milieu. I did not exist in isolation. I was always a part of a cultural group that was there. Sometimes in rejecting some of the cultural problems, I created an anti-script. Or rejecting some of the family issues, I created an anti-script, then opposite bias. This bias I rejected created the exact opposite bias. Like the American Foreign Minister, Secretary for Foreign Affairs, told the Indian counterpart, not one Indian has lobbied for the Indian stand in US. You have a diaspora of Indian Americans, huge, but not one person has lobbied for the Indian stand. So you're giving up your roots so completely. Whereas United States, the political milieu expects you to form groups and demand what you want for your cultural, ethnic, political group. That is how they function. But the Indian diaspora is powerless. What type of bias is that? You all decided and let me know. I'm just presenting something. You can understand what it is. You are a product of modern education which was based in the maculae system of shaming your past, and you have internalized it so much you don't even realize it.
Is it the story of converted Muslim is more Muslim than the original Muslim?
True. You shame yourself, you want to destroy India. You can't own up your own culture. I have seen only one Muslim say this, the person who wrote the script of Mahabharata. Every Indian either is a Hindu or a Muslim with Hindu background, ancestors, or a Christian with Hindu ancestors. Sardar Hindu ancestors is very well known anyway. Any religion you belong to, you are all Hindus before. Therefore, it's a Hinduism that's continuing as a modified religion into you. You have to own up that past. Own up that past, at least you have to own up. Now some people are ashamed of that. Why are you ashamed? Because you know very clearly our ancestors converted either for a bag of rice or the point of a sword. This is how conversions took place. Either you are economically helpless, made economically helpless, so you converted for a bag of rice, or at the tip of a sword. All conversions in India happened like that. Now it's happening differently, but now it's happening more because of a bag of rice than a sword. That's all the difference is. So, but that is shameful to say my ancestors converted for a bag of rice. Therefore, you deny that and you blame the religion that you converted from. Because that's what you are told, that's how you are converted. So, another bias coming in. Another bias coming in. Rejection of cultural heritage. No, I am not saying you should go so far and to say, no, because of that, I am owning up my cultural heritage. I will dress only in Indian clothes. Ravade, do what is practical, okay? You can wear Indian clothes for festive occasions. You do what is convenient, fair enough. I am not denying that. Do what's convenient. But include your heritage into yourself. That's important. So there's another type of bias. All this I am saying only because of how Shruta Hani and Ashruta Kalpanam takes place. These are all the ways it takes place because of my own internal bias. Okay. Then he had said, Nacha Tesham Kartrutevadi Surupapatti Pradhana Parataha Avasiyate Tat Kena Kam Pashyetiti Ityadi Kriyakaraka Phala Nirakarana Shrute. Then he had said it is meant for Kartru Deva Devatadi Surupapatti. They are revealing the Swarupa of the Karta and Devata etc. for the sake of Upasana, not for the sake of Jnanam. Okay? This is the Purva Paksha. Okay? Padana Parata Avasiyate. Hey, how can you say that? We accept that in the Upanishads there are Upasanas etc. mentioned. Yesterday in the class I was talking about vulnerability and this about one of the Upasanas that is there in Taittiriya. lot of upasanas are there. What is it meant for? To get your mind ready for jnanam. Therefore, adhikari vedat, lot of upasanas are mentioned to make you an adhikari for jnanam. That is not the main thing. Why? Because once you gain atma jnanam, tat kena kam pashyet, there is a quotation here. Tat kena kam pashyet. Brihadaranyaka. Who's there to see whom? Once you know, Ishvara and I are one. With that knowledge, can you do an upasana? With that knowledge, can you do a worship? Ishvara and I are one and the same. Now come on. Use that knowledge for an upasana.
You can only do it with deliberate adhyasa, no?
No, that is different. How a wise person can do a puja or upasana, we'll come to later. But tell me this much. If I know I am limitlessness itself, what karma or upasana can I do?
No, none.
Because the karta is established by what? Ajnanam, adhyasa. He said, we saw that in the adhyasa bhasha. Karta is established by ajnana, adhyasa, which is ajnanam, caused by ajnanam. The difference between the deity and me is adhyasa caused by ajnana. The deity, if I take the deity as real, it is adhyasa caused by ajnana. Ajnanam gone, adhyasa gone. Abhi kya upasana rahega? What karma can you do?
You don't need the dhyasana.
There is no karma. What karma can you do? Adhyasa is gone. Karta is gone. If karta, karaka means, etc., all that has been dismissed as mithya. Where is your karma or upasana? Tell me. And this is called Praudavada, taking a strong stance. Okay? Yeah. Where is it? Not possible. Kena kampashit is who's there to see what? Who's there to see what? Ishvara doesn't exist separate from me. World doesn't exist separate from me. What is there is only one Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. Who's going to do what karma, what upasana? Then what is that? It's complete destruction of karma actually. Then how come you see the wise person teaching, doing some karma, etc.? That is deliberately taking on the roles of functioning. For the sake of functioning in the world, he is deliberately taking on a role. Pashvadibhishya Visheshat, we've seen that also. Deliberately taking on a role.
So that is for Loka Sangraha, no?
Loka Sangraha or anything else also. Loka Nigraha also. Yeah. You take on a role. Take a Baba. I have to teach. Okay. And you see character sitting in front of you. Who do you see them as? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. Everyone is nothing but Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. Then what's the difference? They don't know it yet. So you see what they are and you help them see what they are. Deliberate adhyasa. Okay, since they don't see it, I will play the role of a teacher now. Samjhu, are you a guru? Sometimes I play that role. Are you a Swami? Sometimes I behave like an Asami also. Just to break people's cultural conditioning. Or kya? Are you getting the idea? You're deliberately playing a role. To help those people on. Okay. Two. Then your guru, from whom you gain this knowledge. Yeah. Create teachers for the future. Responsibility given. Okay. You have to put an ashram. put an ashram, pehla bhumi puja karo. But the Lord you are worshipping is not different from you, correct? The Lord I am worshipping is not different from me. But this is Vyavahara. In Vyavahara, you have to accept functional differences. Not real differences, functional differences. So he will invoke the Ishvara as Ashtadik Devatas. First Ishvara and then Ishvara is invoked as Ashtadik Devatas. Are you getting the idea? It's all playing around. Vyavahara, that is. Just like going for a meal to take care of your body. Same thing. Having a bath. Ganga is not separate from me. Snan kyun karne ka hai? If you want people to be sitting around you, better go and have a bath. In the Ganga. We know the water is not different from you as far as consciousness is concerned. Not different. It is not different from you as far as the body is concerned. Body is 75% water. Why do you need a bath? All that water is inside you, not outside. And if that water comes outside, you better have a more bath. Because the bacteria will start interacting with your sweat and create more problems. Functioning. You can't use absolute arguments for functioning, nor can you use functioning arguments for the absolute. Therefore, you cannot enjoin a karma on a person who has gained the knowledge. You cannot enjoin karma on the person who wants this knowledge and is ready to learn and understand. He has been there, done that, enough. Na karmana, na prajaya, na dhanena. All these are not going to give you moksha. Tyage naike. Deliberately use the word tyaga. Why? Ajnana tyaga is the most important thing. Therefore, kena kampashyet, who is there to see what? Then why is Upanishad talking about it? For the person who is not yet ready for only knowledge, he needs to get his mind ready, because the knowledge has to take place in a mind. That mind has to be ready to receive that knowledge and own it up. Yeah. Two things. Receive that knowledge and make it a part of your life. Therefore, all this becomes upasanas, etc. is given as help. There are various things that can help. Whatever will help your mind works. Do it. So, that's where the whole thing is. Clear up to now? Ityadi kriya karma nirakarna shrutehe. Therefore, no karma possible for the sake of moksha or after moksha. It's only as preparation for studying. Athato Brahma Jijnasa. Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannanantaram. But many of us start studying without the Sadhana Chatushtaya, which is normal, not us, olden times also. So, some things are given to fine tune it and become an Uttamadhikari. That's all. Therefore, na karmana, before or after. Here is where your cultural bias will work against you if you come from an orthodox family that does lot of karma. How can one with karma be dismissed? After all, Sandhya Vandanam, etc. is good. I am not saying no to that. Please do it. Continue it until you are ready to drop it. Continue it. But it is the sacred thread is taken up only to be dropped. You take up the sacred thread when? 6-year-old, 8-year-old. That's your Diksha into spiritual studies. Then you do learn all the thing, karma, this, that, upasana, all that, Ishvara, all that you learn. Then you get married, you add another 3 more. Since her clothing, etc., is not conducive to wearing it, you wear it for her as a man. Then, supposed to be a vanaprastha after that. Vanaprastha is about letting go. And then you take sannyasa. What do you do when you take sannyasa? Take out the sacred thread and put it into the Ganga. No more necessary for me. No more necessary. It has done its job. So what do? You're taking it up for what? To drop it eventually. In between what happens? Hopefully your growth will happen. Or you'll pick up a karma bias. If growth happens, it's great. The bias happens, tragic. And I've seen in today's world a lot of biases happen, not growth.
Swamiji, what about women? We are not.
You can do the if you can be initiated, you can do the Gayatri, everything you can do. Only you have to be initiated, like how a man also has to be initiated. Olden days, they were Rishikas. One of my Guru Bens has identified 500 Rishikas of the Vedas. 500.
I'm saying for us, normal,
You
general
can.
people.
So take a Gayatri Diksha for someone and do it. But then do it seriously.
Okay.
Yeah. Or take any mantra. Take Gayatri Diksha.
Normally, I find like when people are getting married.
One second. I'm not talking about what is normally done. That's all a problem. That's all aberrations of our culture. This is the tradition. What I'm talking about is the tradition. Want to follow that? You can follow that. Follow a modified version. Follow a modified version. Because marriage is a Vedika ritual. You do not get permission to get into a Vedika ritual without having done the Yajñopavita ceremony. So people do it just before marriage and forget all about it after marriage. That's unfortunate. Yeah. That's unfortunate. So I did also have my Yajñopavita ceremony done at 8 years, etc. My family had given up that tradition. So I did it after I went to the ashram, just to validate the tradition. But that didn't mean I was not a prepared student. Yeah, I was better prepared than most because of other disciplines. So, it's preparing the mind can be done in 100 different ways. I am only talking about the karma, the cultural bias I was trying to point out. You pick up the sacred thread only to drop it. So, if you don't have the idea that one day it has to be dropped, what are you doing? You are letting it be a conditioning. That rope which is supposed to help you grow, a helping hand string was given to you, a rope was given to you. What are you doing yourself? Hanging up yourself with that, tying up yourself with that. That's not what it is meant for. It's meant to free you, not tie you. But people will say, it ties me to the Shastra. If it ties you to the Shastra itself says untie it. The Shastra itself says untie it. But that part you are not willing to listen. First part you are willing to listen. That was told to an 8-year-old. You are tied to the Shastra now. You are committed to the Shastra. So he will follow it well. It is not meant at 50. I am still tied to the Shastra. Or at 80 I am still tied to the Shastra. Free yourself. The Shastra says, demands you to free yourself. Atma vare drashtavya. Don't get stuck on the karma. Don't let the smoke of the fire blind you internally as well. Externally it covers your eyes. Let it not cover your brains. Sureshwara says that in Naishkarma Siddhi. So with that, good place to stop. Om